So we were sitting there inches away from getting like the worst tattoo ever, like something like bike boys, like something stupid.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to bring to the stream at this time the one and only Nick Ghanbarian.
You nailed it. That's great.
Oh, yes. Oh, good.
Like a true Long Island Persian person. You nailed it.
Thank you so much. I was okay. I want to try it the other way though, but you said we can also say
Ghanbarian. I feel like that's how my father would say it. Ghanbarian.
Ghanbarian. Oh, it's so regal. Well, Nick, thank you so much. It is such an honor to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. Well, we wanted to mention that you said you've been home for about 12 days now.
Yeah.
You are fresh off a tour, and now here you are, right here in Talkulture.
Yeah.
So we kind of want to pick your brain a little bit before we get into some spooky stuff because it is Halloween month. So I guess our first question for you would be, what is the first musical act that you recall seeing live?
Oh, easy answer. I talk about it all the time because it's so cool. I saw Madonna during the Who's That Girl tour at Giant Stadium in New York. That was the first ever like musical act, concert show, whatever you want to call it. But it's funny because I think back to it and I feel it was me and my kind of extended family, like an aunt, uncle, and some cousins. And I swear we were touching like the back of Giant Stadium. That's how far away we were from the stage. And it was like the late 80s. So I feel like musical productions weren't a big thing. I remember there maybe being two screens. And like we were so far away that we had to watch the screens. And I remember somebody else having like an actual film camera like that I was with and taking a picture. And we got the pictures developed and it's like, oh yeah, there's Madonna somewhere in there.
You see one cone.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Oh man, yeah, that's awesome. Mine was Hanson, so I mean it's cool, but it's not Madonna cool, you know.
Yeah. I don't think anything's gonna top that. That's a good one. Mine was Creed, so we're just not even gonna talk about it.
I mean, I would say my first concert that like meant a lot to me and like put me on the trajectory to literally be here sitting with you would be Green Day at Nassau Coliseum. And I still have the ticket stub for that. And it was literally $13 for an arena show because they were, it was the Dookie tour. They had just blown up. They were still trying to like have some sort of punk ethos. And I'm sure it just cost less back then to put on shows, but it was literally a Coliseum, like where the New York Islanders play. And it was $13.
Wow.
Crazy.
Those were the days. I think, are they back on tour? They were getting ready to go back into it like Fall Out Boy.
They did that. They completed that already. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Of course, I blinked and I missed it apparently. Cool. Great. I'm so on top of this.
There you go. Now, going along with the same theme here, I'm sure you're going to have an easy answer for this one too. Do you remember your first musical album that you ever bought? Your first music album?
I'll go with, I liked music a lot growing up and I grew up in the 80s. But my father being from Iran, and I don't know, my mother was just more of like, a great mother, just more of a housewife. I didn't get a lot of culture like instilled in me because of my parents. Like everything I've ever liked in my life, I kind of found on my own. So we grew up listening to the normal things that were on MTV or the local station, like Madonna and Michael Jackson and all that stuff. I would say not until CDs really came around was I buying my own CDs. And I remember I'm like the least judgmental person ever when it comes to music. And I remember going to my grandmother worked at Kmart, and I remember going to the music section and buying Nirvana's Nevermind, but then also whatever Paula Abdul record was out. I'm like, just two completely different things. But I wasn't. It was just all music to me, Like I knew I liked it and it was catchy, and I'm still that way. Like I mean, there's a couple of genres I don't really. They just annoy me when I hear them, but I'm not judgmental about things that I think are very good. And I would still, I'm still listening to Dua Lipa and Bad Religion. Like I'm still that way.
So good. I mean, and also I have to say, since you mentioned Paula Abdul,
Mhm.
MC Scat Cat is a legend.
Yeah.
That song, oh my God.
Get him on the pod. Get him on Talkulture.
Is he available? Actually, you know what's funny? I've done a panel for the guy that was MC Scat Cat. So yeah, he's pretty cool. Michael Chambers, who was from the movie Break-In and Break-In.
Wow.
So yeah. Well, okay, we're gonna pivot a little bit because we all have common interest, and that interest is Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't talk about one of the greatest franchises of all time. And also, that being said, you know, you have a podcast about it, so I feel like you're quite knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But I want to know, which of the films, any film, do you think is the most underrated?
I feel like all the pre-Disney ones are properly rated. But I mean, all the newer stuff I think is underrated. I think that I'll go with Solo just because I think that it's every Star Wars self-proclaimed Star Wars nerds, like, it's full of Easter eggs and a million stories can spawn from that one movie. But you know, I have problems. I have some problems with the sequels, like some people do, but I love them. I don't think that the problems with the sequels ruined the movies or ruined all of Star Wars or anything. I'm not taking it in that hateful route, but there are other things I would have liked to have seen in the sequels, but I think they're overall underrated also. But I would go with Solo for sure. I thought Rogue One is probably the most complete, beautiful, they nailed it movie of the Disney era. But I mean, I just think Solo is probably the least seen out of the 5 movies they've done, and I think it has the most potential to just spawn a whole other, like, sect of the universe, even though it involves Han Solo. But I just think there's so much there with Jabba the Hutt, and then potentially, obviously, Boba Fett and Han, and just so many different things in that era that they continue to explore, so they could bring in kind of I don't know, like Rebels and like post Clone Wars era type stuff. So I don't know, that one, just based off of potential, to me seems like the most underrated.
It's a good choice. Now, okay, for both of y'all, because I haven't had the opportunity to go yet to Galaxy's Edge, and I know there's the big debate over green milk, blue milk. Have both of you guys tried it, and do we have a preference?
That's funny. I've only had the blue milk, but I've never needed to steer clear. So I'm going with blue milk.
You like the blue milk, okay?
Milk,
I like them both. I feel like I'm not normally like a contrarian, but I feel like I get the green just to keep it in business. Like I don't necessarily like it more, but I'm just like, they probably need some green milk sales today. Let me go buy one.
It's like one of those things, like, where the people like go to get their like wheatgrass shots. It's like you go and it's like, it probably tastes the same, right? That's what I
honestly wish it tasted like wheatgrass.
Oh, it's bad. Okay,
it's not bad, but it's I don't know. I don't know how my whole spiel with the milk stuff there is. First of all, it's not milk. It's more like I don't know, some sort of slushy. But they dedicated like an area to 2 drinks, and it's like, you really needed to like knock it out of the park if they were going to be these 2 drinks, and they haven't. So I'm just interested why they still only have 2 drinks there as the only 2 products.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even the person working there was like, I didn't know the difference. I didn't even know that there was a debate between blue or green. So I went up there. I'm like, oh, which one? They're like, which one do you want? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Which one should I get? And they were just straight up like, yeah, get the blue. Don't even like get the blue. And I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. You know what's
cool? So in Disneyland, it's just straight up you're getting the slushies, but in Disney World's Galaxy's Edge, you could add tequila or rum to them. Makes them a lot better. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
Florida,
Orlando.
And there's no rules.
Florida.
You're right. Yeah, I'm heading to Orlando tomorrow, so that should be a fun time. Now, I know we're all the new hotel is opening soon too. So, do you have any plans to potentially check out the?
Yeah, funny you should ask. Our podcast that we just recorded last night, it'll come out this Thursday. We have a travel agent on who helped us book the second ever voyage on the Galactic Star Cruiser. So we're going March 3rd to the 5th. There's 4 of us in each room. So we have 2 rooms. So it's me, Ryan from Yellow Cards, one of the hosts, Adam from Story of the Year is the other host, and then we're buddies with Austin Romero, who's a WWE like in-ring
That's who I'm
announcer
seeing
for Raw.
tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. So we're all in one room, and then there's a couple other people in the other room. So yeah, we actually somehow, I mean, not somehow, but this travel agent did a lot of work for us, and actually, I think she said she was on the phone for like half the day, like 12 hours waiting to get into a queue, and then waiting, and then finally booked us. And it's definitely expensive. But when you jam 4 people in the room, it's a little bit more affordable. It's still more money than I've paid for like 2 days of anything, but whatever.
But life experience, right, is priceless.
Yeah. And like being amongst some of the first to do it too, and getting to do it with my buddies. The funny thing is about our Thank the Maker, our podcast, is I've toured with Ryan before, a little bit on Warped Tour. And Warped Tour is not necessarily, you think of it as being like a big hangout session, but you kind of stick to your bubble and your group. And then we toured with Newfound Glory when Ryan was doing some backup guitars and keyboards and stuff for them. And we never were really that close. And I'd never met Adam from Story of the Year previous to them both being in my living room doing a podcast about solo. I was a guest on the podcast first. And then a day or two later, they were just like, hey, that was really awesome. Do you want to just co-host? And I was like, yeah, sure. So to this day, I've only met Adam twice, and one of them was just this weekend. Like, you mentioned you play bass for Avril.
Mm-hmm.
So were you there this weekend?
I was not.
Oh,
no,
okay. So I wound up at Emo Night LA.
Were you there?
Yeah. I had a crazy, I mean, I love Las Vegas. I love going where it takes me. And that night took me to Emo Night LA. I don't know.
That's awesome. Well, when we're back on tour, come out to
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was like a little fill-in, quick little one-off thing.
Yeah, no, Saturday I did, well, the whole weekend I planned, because it was just too many good bands. But Friday was Rancid and the Bronx. And then Saturday was War on Women, Alkaline Trio, and Bad Religion. And then just my night took me. Somehow I walked into Emo Night LA. I don't know.
It happened. All roads lead to Emo Night. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are fun. Well, okay. So kind of combining Star Wars and wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
So not too long ago, Rosario Dawson, she showed up in AEW. You know, she had a thing with Malachi Black.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on a potential, I don't know, could there be a Star Wars wrestling universe?
Why not? Yeah. I don't, there's still good and bad, face and heel and all this stuff. I could see it working for sure. I mean, intellectual property aside, it could work, you know. I don't think anyone's going to want to pay to have a Star Wars branded person, you know, like, but that would be amazing.
If anyone could do it, it's Tony Khan.
Yeah, right. They got the money.
Yeah. Well, he certainly does.
Do you think there's going to be a breakout star or a standout in AEW?
I mean, I really like Sammy. Is he the new TNT champ?
Yeah.
Is that
Sammy
who it is?
Guevara.
Yeah, he's great. You know, I've really like. It's strange. I grew up on wrestling, and I watched through the Attitude Era. And then just like anything else, I just get distracted for 20 years, apparently. But I've really only gotten back into it in the last half a year or so. But how did I get? So I think once Peacock got the rights to the WWE Network, I already had Peacock because I wanted to watch 30 Rock. And I just started watching all old Royal Rumbles. That was the first thing I went to. I just went to the first one and watched them. And then when I got to the modern era, I was like, you know what? I got nothing going on. I'm going to like just start watching wrestling. And I know a couple of friends that still watched it that I'm close with. And I was just like, I think I got what's going on. I think I understand what's going on. It's not that hard. It's basically a soap opera and a circus combined. It's not hard to understand. But they, you know, it's just me talking to them and getting filled in. And then like my shirt, I just fell in love with Bianca Belair. I think she's a badass. So I was just like, this is my in. This is the new person I'm super stoked on. And that was it. We went to SummerSlam in Vegas right before tour. It was great. I mean, Bianca got a raw deal that day, but it was fun.
Listen, no, she is a star.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And since you mentioned Mike Rome, I just have to say he is without a doubt the best ring announcer in the biz, and
absolutely.
also one of the nicest humans you will ever meet. He's a wonderful person.
Yeah, we had him on the podcast, and he was great. I'm worried about being the shortest person in that room, because I know he's very tall, and Adam's very tall, and Ryan's maybe an inch or two taller than me. So I'm like, man, I'm not even short, but you guys are tall.
It's okay. Yeah. Hey, well, do you have, and especially now that you said that you've kind of gone back and rewatched, do you have a Mount Everest of wrestlers?
I mean, I really, obviously, Mick Foley being from Long Island's a big deal, and he just seemed so genuine, and like, the reason I'm drawn to Bianca is I could think that she's very genuine. But yeah, it's hard. Mick Foley for sure.
All three faces? Like,
yeah, I mean, why not? That would make the answer easier, because then I'd only have to pick one more. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll go a little recency bias and just throw Bianca on there. I think she's just great. I mean, it's really hard, because I think in this day and age, I know so many like bad things about people. Like, I wouldn't want to put Hogan on there, even though that's just like every person's like childhood hero, you know? And that's also not to hijack the question, but that's also in a whole other thing of how I got back into wrestling, is all those documentaries that WWE Network has. It's just like, oh my goodness, I love seeing the behind the scenes stuff. It's so cool. I don't know, for comedic kind of purposes, you know, like Stone Cold, that whole era was just absolutely amazing. Yeah. And you know, like, I'll going against myself here, because I think the jury's out on Shawn Michaels not being a good guy, but I just think that, like, for being like a smaller dude, and him just being like almost like the first charismatic, not huge dude to be a star, I kind of am into that.
Yeah, that's all fantastic, phenomenal choices. You really can't, you know, there's no wrong answer. You were mentioning the documentaries. Have you had a chance to watch the Dark Side of the Ring that they've been doing for Vice?
A little bit here and there. I've mostly seen like clips. I haven't watched a whole episode yet. I have another buddy who has a podcast called Marked Out Podcast, and I've known him forever, and we talk about hockey a lot. And now that I got into wrestling, he kind of just sends me some things here and there. So I've really only seen clips of certain things here and there. I haven't actually watched a whole episode of those.
If you want to have your mind absolutely blown, you have to watch Plane Ride from Hell.
I've heard about the fallout of it all, but yeah, I haven't seen the episode yet.
Yeah, it's special. It's pretty wild. Anyway.
Cool. So going a different direction now. I'm super interested to ask this question. Legal Speed Coffee. You have your own coffee brand. How did that come to be? What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, today was my first day
how
back.
I get some?
Oh yeah, I know a guy. Today was my first day back, actually. Like, it's me and Chris, the drummer of Bayside, and we were just on tour about, I don't know, probably closer to 6 years ago. And the actual way we came about this was, we always bring our bikes on tour, just so we're not like confined to like a couple of block radius to get food or coffee or whatever. So we bring our bikes on tour, and we were in North Carolina. I think we were in Raleigh, North Carolina, and our friend had just switched tattoo shops. So she was like, come to the shop, like, we'll you know, I'll give you guys a quick little tattoo each, just a little like bro tattoo. So we were sitting there inches away from getting like the worst tattoo ever, you know, like something like bike boys, you know, like something stupid.
Bike boys?
Yeah, I don't know, something ridiculous. And I was just thinking, because I was like, I really don't want to get that, but whatever. And then I was just thinking of coffee related things, coffee related lyrics, and the Lagwagon song called Mr. Coffee popped into my head. And, you know, they say the words legal speed in that. So I just like blurted it out, and he was like, that's awesome. Did you just come up with that? I'm like, no, it's a Lagwagon lyric. So we got these legal speed tattoos on the like front, like bottom half of our shin. And we were riding home, and immediately, because Chris's brain is constantly going, he was just like, we should open a cafe and call it Legal Speed. I'm like, yeah, man, like, absolutely. Why not? Like, what do we have to do? We're on tour a couple of months a year. We need something else to do. So the idea eventually evolved into like becoming a roastery first. And that's what we've done for the first couple of years. we've done, we've gotten our own accounts, and mostly here in California, we supply a couple of cafes, and we'll do events here and there. Chain Reaction, the venue here in Anaheim, they've done some night markets, and we've done some coffee pop-ups for them, and we do a lot of band collaborations too.
Cool.
I think a lot about just coming from like a Bayside like merchandise area. We really concentrate a lot on our merchandise and what it means to us to be a band. Like obviously for the last 20 years, no band is really they're not making a living off of royalties or anything like that, which is why we toured so much. And really concentrated on selling merchandise. And it's such an important thing to keep the train on the tracks. So I just think when you're a band for an extended period of time, you have to figure out different things to sell, because people don't need a 20th Bayside shirt, but we need them to buy something so we could pay rent,
Do we?
So
We kind of do.
I mean, people do, believe me. I have 20 Bad Religion shirts in my closet. I get it, but I think branding, Motion City Soundtrack, or Taking Back Sunday, or Best Coast, Quicksand, Coffee, Bouncing Souls, Coffee. Like you get to do you have a little bit of leniency with what the art looks like and what the label looks like, and people are excited. You don't need to sell 2,000 bags like you would shirts, but you do a couple hundred bags, stoke out some coffee drinkers who also like your band, and yeah, it's been a cute little like niche between music, which obviously we live in, and Chris is really I know I mentioned we ride bikes on tour, but he's really gotten into cycling. So our brand aesthetic is music based, but then also we do a lot of stuff with the cycling community also.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Is there any place in the country that you find has the best coffee? Any area?
At this point, no. It would always be, you'd stick to like the Chicago, Philadelphia, Seattle, obviously. But at this point, we don't really have a hard time finding like a third wave coffee shop in almost any city we play. And it's definitely people, although there's still so much that people need to learn about coffee, I think there's the right amount of people who know enough to have a non-Starbucks cafe like offering good coffee. And it's been the most interesting thing in the last 10 years of really getting into coffee, and then the last 5 years of owning our own roasting company, is how much we've learned and how little people know about something that they drink every day. Like all the information about coffee that you think is just wrong. Like darker doesn't mean it has more caffeine. It's literally the opposite. So it's just, there's so much misinformation out there, all based off of these huge, from Folgers to Starbucks, basically burning your coffee because it's, easier for them to burn coffee and sell it to you and make you think that dark coffee is stronger and has more caffeine. It's just not right. It's just wrong information.
I didn't know that. Oh
yeah, lighter's the better. Lighter is way better.
Whoa.
Is that what you're oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to talk about the Maddie 2.0, but go ahead.
I'm just the host. I'm not the guest. Does your company do mostly light roast? Is that?
I mean, it's not necessarily light. I mean, we do take it. We buy great beans. That's another thing with like these Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or anything. And everyone drink whatever you want. Doesn't matter. But the way that those big companies have like quality control, like if you go to Starbucks in Sweden or California, it's going to taste the same. They're buying not great beans and then just literally charring it, so they have consistency. I mean, obviously it's good for profits if they're buying cheap stuff, but then they're just charring it because most people who go to Starbucks are still adding milk and sugar, and what does the coffee even matter at that point? So we base what the roast should be based off of what bean it is. So, our Ethiopias, we tend to like a more medium roast. So we'll go a little left or right of center on the roasts. And, like we'll have a good Ethiopia, which is a little lighter than medium. And then we'll have Guatemala that's a little darker than medium, but still not dark like you would think. Like you're not looking at like a black bean, we're getting like proper taste out of it, because our goal is that you don't put milk and sugar in it. You can do whatever you want, but our goal is to roast it in a way that if you brew it correctly, it just tastes great on its own. And that's the how, if you get the right bean, it's capable of just being drank by itself.
It's all about the beans.
Yeah.
The bean.
God. I can't believe how much I just learned about coffee in like this minute. Like, okay, charred coffee at Starbucks. Whoa, I've had coffee one time, Nick.
Oh my God.
I'll tell you about it. But so I was at a convention and another coffee maker, Dave Ellefson, was there, and I tried his coffee, and it tasted like coffee, and that was the end of it for me. So that was the beginning and end of my journey. But okay, we're gonna pivot once again, because it is spooky season, and I have to commend you that your costumes are amazing. And I saw your Schitt's Creek costume. Yeah. Oh my God, you, David. And I saw you also were my namesake, Commander Riker. My last name's Riker, so I thought that was amazing. And so, what about this year? What do you have planned?
Wow, it's so difficult. So me and my ex-girlfriend crushed Halloween more than I've ever crushed Halloween. We were literally the first year we were together, we were Fry and Leela from Futurama. So obviously I got to pick that one. But then second, she was Han Solo and I was Princess Leia and our dog was Chewbacca. So I got to pick that one again. Third year she was more into Star Trek. So she went Picard. I had to do Riker. And I was really like, the thing that anytime Riker was on screen, I loved how, to me, it's really funny when people shave their beards like past like here, So I was just like this weird like chin strap thing. I walked into a party being like, you believe my beard? People were like, you look exactly the same. I'm like, damn it. I thought I had a funny beard. And then last year Schitt's Creek was just great because if you saw a picture of my father, like he looks like Eugene Levy, and I don't not look like I would be a part of that. So that was easy. This year, honestly, I don't have plans, and I do have a great idea, but I just have nowhere to do it. It's been really great for me, I think, that Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso, he plays Roy Kent. I like that he's becoming a very popular person and that people think he's attractive, because I'm like, that's kind of good for me. Like if people start thinking he's attractive, I kind of look like him. So I'm just like, I'm like, I know I found a site somewhere that does a Roy Kent jersey. I'm like, all I really need is shorts and I'm in, like a jersey and shorts. But I've never really crushed Halloween solo before. So I'm not really sure. I just need to show up somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
With a soccer ball. And I don't know. We'll see. It's not too late. I was leaning towards not doing anything, but we'll see.
No, it's not too late. I have full faith in you. Yes. What a fun show. Okay, so you mentioned Ted Lasso. Are you binge watching any other shows? I guess the big question is, did you watch Squid Game?
I didn't. I am I let anyone do whatever they want to do, but I'm 41 years old. I'm getting a little grumpy here and there. So when things on Netflix like take off and people can't stop talking about them, I just start to be like, I'm not watching this stupid show everyone's talking about. I never watched Tiger King, like I have this weird little annoying streak because I'm getting older where I'm like, I'm not watching it.
Oh no. Okay.
So maybe I don't like. I have nothing against it. I literally know nothing about it. So I don't know. Being on tour is really like this weird kind of time vacuum where you have all the time in the world, but like I feel like I'm always doing something, but I'm also not really wasting time. Or not wasting time, but filling time. Like I had plenty of time to watch TV, but I just didn't. I had plenty of time to stay up on my podcast, but I didn't, as far as what I listened to. So now that I'm home, I feel like I have a little bit more time, but no, I don't have anything in particular that I've started new. The only thing that I watched pretty recently was the Star Wars Visions, the anime little series that they put out. So that's really the only thing, that I kind of binged. And yeah, no, I haven't even caught up with Ted Lasso yet. I think I have 1 or 2 episodes left, but
it's not going anywhere. It's there.
No.
Ready for it?
And I'm not really like, when it comes to like spoilers and stuff like that, obviously I don't want any Star Wars spoilers, but other than that, I'm pretty casual with everything else. Like hearing outcomes of things that aren't Star Wars doesn't really bother me too much. I'm pretty casual with like, yeah, totally.
Smiling green is people.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't mean to spoil it. I apologize. Anyway.
It's okay. I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah, fair enough. Maddie?
Okay, in the zombie apocalypse,
Ooh.
what would be your weapon of choice?
So zombies, you gotta go for the brain, right?
Usually.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not a gun guy, so I'm gonna go with like, I don't know, a bat with a bunch of nails on it or something like that, and just get some cardio and just start swinging.
See,
Yeah.
it's very Lucille, but it's also very Mick Foley.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
full circle. I think that's a good choice because, like you mentioned, the no gun thing,
Yeah.
and then with a bat, you don't have to reload. You don't have to keep
Exactly.
finding.
Yep.
Yeah, very smart.
And I'm
Good
gonna
for
need to
you.
stay in shape. I'm gonna need to, so that'll help my cardio.
There you go.
I love it.
You're
I love it.
gonna survive.
All right. So another question or two before we get to our game. So if you had the ability right now to cover any Halloween song with your band, what song would you want to cover?
Halloween song. Do you mean just like spooky, creepy song, or are there
Yeah.
specific Halloween songs? Okay,
No.
I know the answer to this because I think the best spooky song that's also a punk rock song is Pet Sematary by the Ramones. So that
Yes.
would be my answer.
Ah!
Love that song. This time of the year, that song's amazing. I mean, it's a great song anyway, but yeah, Pet Sematary for sure.
Oh, yes. I love that song so much. Okay.
Good
so
answer.
final good answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Final question before we go to the game.
Yeah.
A little controversial. What is your opinion on candy corn?
I remember liking it. I have not had it in a long time. I remember I've had good experiences with it, but I don't think I've necessarily eaten it as an adult. And like I said, I'm 41 years old, so I don't know the last time I've had it, but last time I had it, I liked it.
Okay, fair enough. So it's a good distant memory
Yeah,
of candy
exactly.
corn.
Yeah.
Got it. Adorable. Okay, so Nick, we
Yes.
have a game of Would You Rather.
Okay,
So there's
love it.
no wrong answers,
Mhm.
and whatever you're feeling, if you want to, tell us more about your answer, that's fantastic, and if not, that's fine too.
Gotcha.
So Maddie, do you want to read the first one?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's see where it is. Okay.
Okay,
Would
there
you
it is.
rather?
Mhm.
Perfect. Would you rather perform a set after being awake for 48 hours
Yeah,
or try to sleep after drinking Cuban coffee?
I think I could easily sleep after drinking any coffee. Being up for 48 hours might actually kill me. So I could
That's true.
easily sleep. I'll go with the coffee.
That's impressive. Okay.
Yeah.
Good for you. Okay.
Good answer.
Good answer. All right, here's
Good
the next
answer.
one. Good answer. Would you rather share a home with Beetlejuice
Mhm.
or share a home with the Addams Family?
It's so crazy where my brain goes. I'm like, immediately, I'm like, how big is the house? Would it be the actual, the house that they were in Beetlejuice and the house that the Addams Family live in?
I think let's go with that.
Okay.
Yep.
I like my space, so I'm going to go with less people. I'm going to go with Beetlejuice. And I love Michael Keaton. I know we're talking about Beetlejuice here, but Beetlejuice
amazing.
in that house. Final answer.
Good answer. Good. All right. Let's see if it's up on the
Good
board.
answer. Good
Yeah.
answer.
I think you had posted, right? About was he on Conan?
Oh,
Michael
pretty.
Keaton?
I'm behind on my Conan podcast, so I listened literally today while I was doing some legal speed fulfillment. Yeah, he's great because a lot of I don't know if people know this or not, but he was like a stand-up comedian. He was a funny actor up until he was Batman. So like he's still a funny person. Like you don't just get into stand-up comedy when you're younger because you want to. Like he was a funny guy. So then he started doing more serious roles and he crushes that also. And yeah, but just hearing him have a candid conversation with Conan it was all funny. It was all funny. And I have this weird not obsession, but I really do just like hearing with the right host like Mark Maron or Conan or someone like that. I just love hearing celebrities talk because they've done so much and impacted culture so much. So when you hear good celebrities and people who have like a head on their shoulders, just really like inspiring, like there is something to there's something about being successful and like not being not becoming a shithead, basically. So I
Amen.
like hearing
Hallelujah.
people like Conan speak, and people that Conan is attracted to, and then you get people like Michael Keaton or like Timothy Olyphant on that show, where they cannot stop joking around, and it's priceless. It's priceless foolishness, and it's amazing.
Yes, we do not deserve Conan or Mark Maron. Oh, an angel among, I was going to say among cats, but all right, anyway.
Among
all right.
cats.
All right, Maddie, you going to read the next one?
All right, you bet. Next one. Would you rather drink good coffee at room temperature or only drink bad coffee, but at the perfect temperature?
Definitely good coffee at room temperature, because I actually still, and this probably like should take points off of my coffee snobbery, I really still like cold brew like 365 days a year. So something closer to room temperature is still better than like hot coffee. I just really don't like hot beverages in general, and I've had to learn how to get past that a little bit for business purposes. But like for enjoyment, I could be like back home in New York with 2 feet of snow on the ground, and I would still want a cold brew.
Nice.
Good.
I thought I was going to trick you up on that one. Darn it.
All right, here's the next one. Would you rather listen to show tunes for 24 hours straight or listen to sea shanties for 24 hours straight?
Ooh. I'm going to go show tunes, because I think there's going to be a little bit more variety. I'm not too familiar with various sea shanties, but I would imagine they all kind of sound the same. So I would say there's probably a little bit more variety with the show tunes. So I'll go with that. And you know what could be in show tunes? You have like American Idiot, Green Day. You have stuff like that, like Rock of Ages or whatever that was called. You probably get a little bit more variety there. So I'll go with that.
Throw in a little Hamilton, a little Phantom.
Exactly.
You're all set. Word. All right. Maddie, you want to read the next one?
Okay, next one is, would you rather never be able to listen to your guilty pleasure album again, or would you rather perform with artists whose albums you're embarrassed to admit that you own?
This one's tough. If you ask like my closest, like the people closest to me, I've had this conversation maybe a decade ago that I don't think I have a guilty pleasure artist. Like I don't know who I would be ashamed to admit that I like. So this is a tough one, because I don't know who I listen to that really is like would be a guilty pleasure, like the actual definition of a guilty pleasure. But I mean, I'd rather perform with an artist whose album you're embarrassed to admit. I mean, I'd rather perform. I'll go with that route with that question. I'd rather perform than the other option is just listen to. So nice. Why not? And you have a picture of NSYNC here. I'll play with NSYNC. Why not?
I think it's interesting that all the guilty pleasures are like some of the best albums of all time. That's funny. Some good albums on that guilty pleasure list. You know?
Hell yeah. All right. We have one more. Would you rather? Here it is. Would you rather go to space with William Shatner or be knighted a Jedi by Mark Hamill? Spelled incorrectly, I think.
Mark Hamill, of course. He's someone who's talk about celebrities that you love finding out that they're great people. Like anytime I hear him talk, or how he, speaks on Twitter and all that, and just really in general, how he speaks about his role in Star Wars is just like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Like he seems so appreciative and like understands that it means something to people that he might not even understand. And I think that's a really good position to be in. And it's just great that he acknowledges that, because someone like Harrison Ford doesn't care, So Mark Hamill, really the way he connects and sees that it means a lot to people is really, really great. So anything to do with Mark Hamill, I'm in.
What about, would you rather be knighted a Jedi by Mark Hamill or go to a movie premiere of a new Star Wars at Skywalker Ranch?
Ooh. Who's going to be at Skywalker Ranch? I have so many questions.
Okay. George will be there.
Okay.
We're on a first name basis.
Yeah.
George. I guess Mark will be there.
No, Mark can't be there.
Okay, Mark can't be there. Kevin Smith will be there.
Okay.
The cast of Clerks is there.
Okay.
Let's see.
I think I'd still go. I think if you boil it down to like Mark, would you rather meet Mark or George Lucas? I would still say Mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer.
They're all good. You got all of them correct, Nick. Well, before we do wrap it up, a couple things we wanted to plug. You have a live stream this Friday.
Yeah.
That is very cool. So make sure to go check out the website to purchase your virtual tickets for the live stream on October 22nd, which is so insane. This is almost the end of the month. Details at Bayside.com.
Yep.
Interesting. And then obviously, like we already mentioned before, Legal Speed Coffee. You have podcasts galore, right? Radio show?
Yep.
Yes.
That's more of like an hour of radio as opposed to like a podcast. I play 10 songs, talk about the songs. It's like under 10 minutes of talking, and then the rest is music. I just more so want to instill my music taste on people.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. And then also thank the Maker Podcast, which we have a graphic for too, because we have a graphic for everything. There it is. That is a very cool graphic as well.
I love it.
And it can be found on Spotify and where podcasts are available. And anything else you want to plug before we wrap it up?
You covered it all. I do a lot of things because I love them, and because being in a band affords me time to dedicate to things, like I would love all of those things to make me more money, but they make me a little bit of money, and I'm happy with it. Like the radio show is really like my passion project. Over the years, I've used different formats of like either Adobe Radio, or there's an app called Station Head, which I really think is an amazing app to kind of just be able to like chill with people and listen to music. And then recently Spotify bought Anchor. So now you could use Spotify songs in Anchor podcasts. So that the radio show is only available on Spotify for that reason. Hopefully they figure something out where it could be, on all different platforms. But for now, the radio show is only on Spotify because technically I'm streaming other people's music. So that's the most fun to me, and the most and that's just me. That's literally just solo me. So I get to really do it all, which is fun.
Heck yeah. Well, before we do wrap it up, we want to go over our upcoming guests that we have. Whatever month this is, October. I'm hearing a cat.
My cat wants to come in. My cat wants to come in. I just never know what door he's at.
Because it's a cat.
Yeah.
So next Tuesday, we're welcoming back Steve Gonzalez from Ghost Nation and Ghost Hunters. The following week, we have another paranormal guy, Aaron Sagers. The following Tuesday, hey, look at that. It's Maddie Riley.
There you go.
/ musician / producer / writer. And you might be bringing a friend with you. We shall see.
Yep. I came here to host the show to promote my guest appearance. That's the whole reason, so.
There you go.
That's a good plug.
Hell yeah. And then Thursday, we're welcoming Rab himself from Jackass. So that'll be fun. And Viva La Bam and all the things. Well, Nick, thank you so much. And we hope you have the best time at Galaxy's Edge. I mean, that's going to be such a cool experience.
It's so cool.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much again to Nick. And Maddie, thank you for co-hosting with me.
Anytime.
And it's Tuesday, so we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Be safe, everybody. Bye.